to understand something. Money means nothing to me. I don't value it. I had all the material things I can ever want. Everything. The things that I want, money can buy.
How do you turn $50 into $40 million? And then how do you turn that $40 million into literally nothing? Let's look at one of the most incredible rise and fall stories, not just in the history of poker, but in the history of gambling as a whole. This is the story of Archie Karas. We're gonna get into all of it, but before we do, make a bet on us and subscribe. We release videos on all things poker every single Monday, and we hope you enjoy the content. Okay, here we go. Archie Karas, a Greek-born gambler, is a legend in the poker and gambling world. His story is one of extreme highs and even more extreme lows, rising from next to nothing to becoming arguably the greatest high-stakes gambler in history, only to lose it all in a series of tragic and reckless decisions. Karas was born in 1950 in an impoverished port city on a Greek island. Raised in a family with limited resources, he grew up in an environment where money was scarce, but survival skills were plenty. From an early age, Karas was a scrappy, independent thinker. He left home as a teenager after a major altercation with his father, reportedly due to their struggles with money. Archie's journey into gambling began shortly after he left Greece in search of a better life. He traveled to the US, initially setting in Portland, Oregon, where he worked as a waiter at a local restaurant. But his real education came in Los Angeles, where he discovered the allure of pool halls and gambling parlors. Karas quickly honed his skills as a pool hustler, mastering the art of deception and psychology, laying the groundwork for what would become an illustrious, though tragic, career in the gambling world. Archie's life took a dramatic turn when he transitioned from pool to poker. He had an innate understanding of risk and an exceptional ability to read opponents, skills that would later serve him well in the felt. In the 1980s, poker was experiencing a surge in popularity in Las Vegas, and Archie was determined to carve out a space in the city's booming gambling scene. He first gained recognition as a high-stakes poker player in LA, where he regularly competed in large cash games against some of the best players in the world. His reputation as a fearless gambler began to grow, and his ability to take down seasoned professionals earned him a seat at larger games. However, despite his success in LA, he was always perpetually broke. He had little regard for money, often losing it as quickly as he would earn it. The Las Vegas poker scene was calling though, and in 1992, with just $50 in his pocket, Archie Karas set out to chase his fortune, and what followed would become the stuff of legend. The legend of Archie Karas truly began when he arrived in Las Vegas with the $50. He borrowed $10,000 from a friend, a loan he would later repay, and entered high-stakes poker games in the city's bustling casinos. His incredible poker run started when he used that money to win a series of high-stakes Razz games, and within a matter of days, he had turned his $10,000 loan into over $30,000. From there, he shifted to the games that would make him famous: No Limit Hold'em and Omaha. Karas had an aggressive style of play, often pushing all his chips in on a single hand, relying on his ability to intimidate opponents into folding. He also had an uncanny ability to read other players, knowing when they were bluffing and when they held strong hands. Over the next several months, Karas won millions of dollars, taking on some of the world's best poker players and dominating them, one after another. But he didn't just stop at poker. His love of risk extended beyond cards. After his initial poker wins, he moved on to high-stakes pick games in Vegas, particularly craps and baccarat. At the height of his run, Karas was betting hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions, on single rolls of dice. His hot streak in the casinos earned him a staggering fortune of around $40 million in cash and casino chips. The most impressive part of his run wasn't just the amount of money he won, but who he beat. His opponents included poker legends like Stu Unger, Doyle Brunson, Chip Reese, Johnny Chan. These were names that were and still are revered in the poker community.
I know he beat the late Chip Reese. I know he beat him out of $2 million one day.
And yet Karas dispatched them with relative ease. For nearly 3 years, he went on what is widely considered the greatest winning streak in gambling history, otherwise known as The Run, solidifying his status as a legend in Las Vegas. But as with many stories of high-stakes gambling, Archie's fortunes did not last forever. Despite his extraordinary ability to win, he had one fatal flaw: he was unable to walk away. Unlike many professional gamblers who know when to quit when they're ahead, Karas believed that as long as he could keep playing, his luck would hold. Unfortunately, that belief would prove costly. In 1995, he began to lose large portions of his fortune. His losses started in the casino pits where his over-reliance on luck led to a series of crippling defeats in baccarat and craps.
So I started playing baccarat. I lose over 20 million like in 10 days. That's half of my bankroll.
Within weeks, he had lost $11 million, but the gambler's mindset that led him to incredible wealth also drove him to keep playing in hopes of regaining his losses. This decision only accelerated his downfall. Soon after, he went back to the poker tables, but by this point, his mental state was deteriorating. His ability to make calculated decisions had been compromised by his desperation to win back his fortune. He began losing massive amounts of money in poker, and before long, he'd given back the entirety of the $40 million fortune he had amassed. His fall from grace was swift and it was brutal. By the end of 1995, the man who had once ruled Las Vegas with the most remarkable run in gambling history was left flat broke, with little to show for his legendary streak. Archie had become another cautionary tale of the dangers of excessive gambling and the volatility of luck. After his remarkable rise and fall in the gambling world, Archie's life continued to spiral downward.
Luck ran out in San Diego, where authorities say this poker legend was cheating at blackjack.
In 2013, he was arrested for cheating at a San Diego casino. He had been caught marking cards in a blackjack game and was charged with several counts of cheating and grand theft. But to this day, he still says he was not cheating and had been framed. Regardless, this was a low point in his life, and it marked a fall from grace for the man who had once been known as the greatest high-stakes gambler in the world.
But they wanted to destroy my name. I had the biggest name in the industry by gambling and poker. I beat some of the best poker players in the world. They didn't like that at all.
Following his arrest, Archie was sentenced to probation and has since largely stayed out of the public eye. His gambling exploits had taken a massive toll on his mental and his physical health, and he appeared to lose the passion for gambling that had once driven him. Today, Archie reportedly still lives in Las Vegas, though he no longer plays in the high-stakes games that once made him famous. He occasionally dabbles in low-stakes poker games, but his days of dominating the felt are long behind him. This whole story is one of both triumph and of tragedy. There are few gamblers in history who can claim to achieve what Karas did during his remarkable 3-year run where he turned $50 into $40 million. Yet fewer still have experienced the kind of downfall that followed. Despite his tragic fall, he remains a legend in the poker community. His incredible winning streak is still spoken about in hushed tones, with players and fans alike marveling at the audacity and sheer skill that defined his rise. Today, Archie's a symbol of both the highs and the lows of gambling, an enduring figure in the annals of poker history whose story will be remembered as one of the most dramatic in the world of high-stakes gambling.
Some of the best things you can buy with money. Money is very important, but it's not number one. Not by a long shot.
And that's all we have for this one. Thank you for watching Poker Boom. If you want more incredible stories of poker stars going from millions to nothing, be sure to check out our recent release, Poker Stars Who Shockingly Lost Everything, right there in the player window. And we'll see you in the next one.